Hello YouTube. I thought this video would be helpful, so I'm making it. Here is how to get every minion in hypixel skyblock. How to craft them, and if you can't craft them, how to get them. We'll be starting off with some of the Slayer things first because, well, this is my browser currently. I'm doing this for you, I don't care if my computer crashes. To make the Inferno minion, you will need a Blaze minion and a Relic Dash. We'll be discussing how to get the Blaze minion later. This is a 2022 guide, so it is probably not going to be the same in the foreseeable future. And you also need 80 Derelict Ash. Derelict Ash you can be obtained from the Blaze Slayers and things like such as that. Discord needs to learn to shut it. For the Voidling minion, you need 40 Null Spheres and an Enderman minion. Also, we'll be discussing how to get that later, but the Null Spheres can be got from Enderman Slayers. For the Tarantula minion, you need 80 Tarantula Web and an Enchanted Fermented Spider Eye. Enchanted Fermented Spider Eyes can be seen how to get them through Collection, and Tarantula Web dropped from the Broodfathers. Next up, Revenant minion. Crystallized Heart is made of 4 stacks of enchanted rotten flesh, which makes the zombie heart. To make the crystallized heart, you then need to take the zombie heart and 4 stacks of enchanted diamonds surrounding that. And then you've got a crystallized heart. And then with 80 revenant flesh, which is super easily obtainable from revenant hordes, it's like tier 1 and 2 zombie slayers, super easy to get from them, you'll get the revenant minion. The clay minion over here is a special case, as the clay is obtained from fishing normally, but it is used making a wooden pickaxe clay, like I just said, made using fishing, and wooden pickaxe should be easy enough to get. Flower minion can only be purchased from the dark auction. I do not know how to upgrade it, but yeah. So flower minion can only be obtained from dark auction, cannot be crafted. And then Snow Minion as well cannot be crafted. It's a reward from white, green, and red gifts from the Jerry event. Now we're getting into the craftable minions, such as the fishing minion. It takes 64 raw fish, which can simply just be fished up, and a normal basic fishing rod, which is pretty easy to get. Next, you have all of the wood minions. It's just 80 of the respective wood. 80 acacia, 80 jungle, 80 oak, 80 birch, 80 dark oak, or if you're feeling extra spicy, 80 spruce. Whatever. And then a wooden axe. And then you'll get your wood minion. Next up, you got spider minion, 80 string, and a wooden sword. String can be gotten on the spider island, or from your private island if they spawn. Spider eyes to make the cave spider minion. Spider eyes, same, from Spider Island or from your private island. Slime balls, usually you're going to find these somewhere in like the deep caverns, preferably Slime Hill, where it's also emerald spawn. You'll find those at deep caverns. Rotten flesh, normally, you can find these actually a lot of places. You can find it private island, you can find it in the hub. I think that's mostly it, but you can also find it deep caverns, and of course the sword. Next, you've got magma cream. As long as you have the magma cream required, the 80 magma cream can be gotten from the Crimson Isles, or if you're me and you just had barely enough to unlock the recipe, you can take some blaze powder and some slime balls and just craft the magma cream required. That's what I did. Also, it's probably not just me, but the magma cube minion looks a little bit like some lasagna. I don't know if I'm hungry or not, but it just kind of looks like lasagna. Mostly Crimson Isles and stuff like that. Gunpowder. You can actually obtain this in deep caverns, but it's super hard to get. Sneaky creepers are, sneaky, and they'll mostly explode before you can kill them. You'll need 80 of this. It can be found private island or in the deep caverns, or if you're feeling it, you can go to the Crystal Hallows, where you can also find a recreation of the deep caverns inside, where sneaky creepers will spawn, and in much more plentiful too. And the wooden sword, of course. Gas tiers only can be found on the Crimson Isles. 64 gas tiers this time instead of the normal 80. And of course the wooden sword. Next up, Enderman minion. Ender Pearls can be found on the End Island or your private island if they decide to spawn. 64 again, unlike the normal 80, and the wooden sword to finish it off. Skeleton Minion. Hub or your private island if they decide to spawn there. 80 bones. Blaze Minion. Mostly on the Crimson Isles, but if you are doing Crystal Hollows, the Bow boss to get the Topaz Gemstone will also spawn blazes, which can both drop blaze rods and count towards the collection, which is how I actually got the minion myself. And of course the wooden sword, but 80 blaze rods as well. Sand Minion. Super easy. You go to the Mushroom Desert, get some sand there. You can probably trade for it too. You can buy it from the builder. It's wooden shovel, 80 sand. Sand is actually pretty easy to get. Recommend getting this minion actually pretty early. You don't have to use it, but it does help increase minion storage. Redstone Minion. Now, unlike normal, with things like where you get multiple drops from an ore, you're going to need 128 redstone, or 2 stacks of redstone and the wood pickaxe to make the minion, because you get multiple redstone per ore. Redstone can be found at deep caverns. Look out for the redstone pigmen, though. They are an issue. Red sand can be found in the... It requires barbarian reputation and can be found in the... Also on the Crimson Isles. I don't know why, specifically on the Crimson Isles. I have not gotten this minion myself. It requires 80 red sand. It is difficult to get. You need the collection for it. You can't just craft red sand with red and sand. That can't just happen. But 80 red sand and the wood shovel. Obsidian Minion. Obsidian can be found in the deep caverns at the lowest level. Not at the Dwarven Mines, but the Obsidian Sanctuary can be found there, and it can also be found on the End Island. 80 obsidian and the wooden pickaxe. I recommend going for the Obsidian Sanctuary to mine obsidian there, because the End Island can be, sometimes it can be a bit much. Quartz Minion can be found on the Crimson Isles only. I managed to get some quartz before the Crimson Isles, when it was the Nether Fortress, so I have this, but not the combat XP required to go to Crimson. So 80 Nether quartz, you're probably gonna, if you're starting now, you're probably gonna need to get a lot of combat XP, so the combat minions will be super helpful with that. Mycelium Minion, also only found on the Crimson Isle. Cannot be crafted, however, unlike red sand. And wood shovel, 80 mycelium. It's actually pretty difficult to get, but it's helpful. Mithril Minion. Requires 80 mithril and a wood pickaxe. The mithril is actually pretty surprisingly easy to get. I recommend getting this, whether you want to use it to get mithril or not. I recommend getting it anyway, because it is actually, will help a lot with, like, minion spacing and stuff like that, like unlocking more minion slots. Lapis, like before with the redstone, except this is 256 or 4 stacks of lapis, because it is at a way easier to get level. I will admit, yes, it's 1 level above the redstone, but for newer players, lapis is easier to get, much easier to get. So the lapis lazuli is twice the amount of redstone, and the wood pickaxe. Lapis lazuli also can be found in deep caverns on literally like the first floor down, not the one you start off with, but the one right below that. That's where you can find the lapis. Iron can be found anywhere. It can be found in the gold mines. It can be found, it's mostly found in the gold mines and the deep caverns, but can also be found in the dwarven mines and crystal hollows. You would not need to be mining iron in those places because you probably already have the minion. It's 80 iron ingots, not iron ore, and a wood pickaxe. I recommend Smelting Touch if you're trying to get this, so Lazy Miner's Pick to go for. Next up, Ice Minion. You're gonna need Silk Touch on a pickaxe, and it's gonna have to be the Jerry event, because that's the only place that I know. You have to go to Jerry Island. That's the only place I know where there would be ice to be able to be mined. So yeah, you're gonna need a Silk Touch pick and go to Jerry Island. Hardstone. This can only be found in the Crystal Hollows. Like the, it says here 80 hardstone, but it shows here you're gonna need 256. I'd get 256 just in case, but this is just confusing. But, only can be found in Crystal Hollows. not that hard to get, but it is definitely a task. Next up, gravel minion. Gravel, not flint. 80 gravel can be found only on the spider's den, I think. Yeah, only on the spider's den is where you can find it. Maybe on the Crimson Isles, but I'm not sure about that one. Mostly on the spider's den are you going to find it, though. And the wooden shovel, 80 of it, too. Gold minion, 80 gold ingots, and the wood pick. Again, not the ore, the ingot. These can be mostly found in the gold mines, as it's literally called the gold mine, and can also be found in the deep caverns on the first level. Glowstone. I, once again, got this actually before it was the Crimson Isles, and back when it was the Nether, so I don't have requirements to make it anymore, but Glowstone minion requires 128 glowstone dust, because again, glowstone drops multiple per glowstone, so you would get a lot fast, so. And the wooden pickaxe like normal. Endstone can be found on the End Island. You would need 80 of the Endstone. Only on the End Island can you find this. And it would create your Endstone minion with the wood pickaxe too. Emerald. These can only be found, as far as I know, or no, they can be found multiple places, but you're mostly going to find them in Slime Hill in the deep caverns. It is the 4th floor down. You start at the top floor, floor 1, then Lapis is floor 2, Redstone is floor 3, Emerald's floor 4, then Diamond is floor 5, and Obsidian is floor 6. That's also where you would find the entrance to the Dwarven Mines by giving the guy materials. So you need 80 emeralds found in Slime Hill or in the Dwarven Mines if you want to do that, but you're probably not gonna. And the wood pick, and you've got your emerald minion. Diamond minion, probably the most wanted minion out of all the starting minions. You're gonna need 80 diamonds, which can be found in the deep caverns on floors 5 and 6. Floor 6 is probably the best place for mining the diamonds because it gives you diamond blocks, which give you way more diamonds, but it is definitely more dangerous. So if you are able to, you can do that, but other than that, I would not recommend doing it. So 80 diamonds, mostly found in the deep caverns, but could also be found in the Dwarven Mines if you want to do that. Cobblestone minion, most likely you don't need to ever get this. You never would need to craft this because you start off with one, but if you got in a co-op with a prankster and you somehow lost this, it requires 80 cobblestone, which can be found anywhere. Even on your normal island, you can create a cobblestone generator and just make cobblestone, so it shouldn't be that hard. And you've got a wood pickaxe as well. Coal minion, probably one of the best minions to start off with, and can work late game as well. Requires 80 coal, could be found in the hub coal mines area, the gold mines, and the deep caverns floor, and the deep caverns floor 1. Other than that, it's very good, 80 coal, cheap, and is very useful late game, and mid game and early game too. Wheat minion, probably one of the easier minions to craft, in my opinion. Requires an 80 wheat and a wooden hoe. Wheat can be found in the farming area of the hub. Can mostly be found on the hub. Can also be found on the farming islands, where you can also find like potatoes and carrots. But mostly there's a ton of wheat there. And it's super easy to craft with an 80 wheat cost. Sugarcane, a little bit more expensive, because again, it actually grows in plentiful on the Mushroom Desert alone. Mushroom Desert biome specifically. This is the setup, if you didn't know. I didn't know, so it looks weird. So you would need 128 sugarcane, same as redstone, and of course the wooden hoe, and now you've got your sugarcane minion. Rabbit minion only requires a stack of raw rabbit, which is also only found on the Mushroom Desert, and the wood sword. Pig minion, a stack of raw pork chops, found on the farming islands, not the Mushroom Desert, but the farming islands alone. Again, with most of the mob layouts, you're going to want, like, fences surrounding this. This is actually straight out of the game, like, this is what the menu would look like. Ideal layout. So a stack of raw pork chops found on the farming island. Chicken, you're going to need a stack of raw chicken, also found on the farming islands. You do want to leave them around a little bit, though, because you're going to want 5 eggs to make the chicken head, so you can lay infinite eggs, because eggs are actually super useful when it comes to crafting pets. But these are found on the farming island, along with the pig and cow. Pumpkin, also found on the farming islands. You need 80 pumpkins and a hoe. It's found, like, on the side. Like, if you come into the farming island, you go to, like, the back right, you'll find the pumpkins. You can also find melons back there, but you're gonna need 80 pumpkins, farming islands. Potato minion, also on the farming islands, but 128 of them. They're kind of in the center of the island. Netherwort minion, you can find this mostly on the Crimson Isles, but also in the hub. If you go over to, like, the witch's house, she'll have 2 big patches of netherwort growing, which are super good for harvesting and getting collection on. Probably one of the easier minions. Sheep minion up next. We've got a stack of mutton, also found on the farming islands alone. A sword and a stack of raw mutton will make your sheep minion. Mushroom on the mushroom desert alone, 80 red or brown mushrooms. Either one, you cannot combine them. You need to go fully with one type, either 80 red or 80 brown mushrooms, and you'll create a mushroom minion. The wooden hoe, of course, to finish it off. And then melon minion, requiring 4 stacks of normal melons because it gets a lot. Also on the farming islands in the back right with the pumpkins, as they both generate there. Cow minion, a stack of raw beef found on the farming island, along with, like, sheep and chicken, or not sheep, pig and chicken. A stack of raw beef with the wood sword. It's unlocked through leather collection, so you'll most likely have the raw beef required when you actually unlock the recipe. Cocoa beans found on the mushroom desert. You require a total of 80 cocoa beans to craft, and the wooden hoe. Cocoa beans are, like, found, you go into the mushroom desert, you're in the desert, you go to, like, the back left of the island, you'll find, like, all the sugarcane, rabbits, sheep, and all the cocoa beans too. And sugarcane. Carrot minion, also found on the farming island. You're gonna need 2 stacks or 128 carrots and the wooden hoe to make your carrot minion. This can be found farming islands, also kind of like in the center of the island with the potatoes, but, like, more to the left center of the island. And then finally, cactus minion is 128 cactus. It can also be found in the mushroom desert, but it can also be found in the mushroom desert and requires not much. You just need to be able to mine the cactus. So, but hey, that's every minion. So I hope you found this guide helpful. I might, like, update it if more minions get added, but that's, as far as I know, that's all the minions in game so far. So hope you found this helpful and that it will help you starting your next profile on which minions to get and how to get them. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but do what you want. Bye-bye now.